Sometimes the hardest prison to escape from is the one we build inside our own minds. We hold on to people who don't care for us. We hold on to situations that have already ended, and yet we call it loyalty, we call it love. But deep down, it's just fear. Detachment is not about coldness. It's not about turning your back. Detachment is power. It means you stop letting someone else's chaos control your peace. It means you can walk away without bitterness, without hate, without regret. Knowing your worth is the foundation of detachment, because the truth is, most of us don't really struggle with letting go of people or situations. We struggle with believing we deserve better. Think about it. The reason you stay stuck in toxic friendships, draining relationships, or dead-end environments is because some part of you has convinced yourself that this is the best you can get. You've lowered your standard, and when you lower your standard, you also lower your peace. When you know your worth, you stop begging for bare minimum. You stop making excuses for people who keep showing you the same patterns. You stop calling disrespect love. You stop calling inconsistency potential. And you stop calling chaos normal, because knowing your worth is like holding a mirror up to your soul. It reflects back the truth you've been ignoring. Here's the problem. We live in a world where people will treat you based on what you tolerate, not on what you deserve. If you let someone waste your time, they will waste it. If you let someone play with your emotions, they will play with them. If you let someone walk in and out of your life whenever it's convenient for them, they'll keep doing it. Not because they're stronger than you, not because they own you, but because you haven't drawn the line. Knowing your worth means drawing that line. It means saying, I don't accept being treated this way. I don't accept being an option when I know I'm a priority. I don't accept breadcrumbs when I'm the whole meal. And listen, that's not arrogance, that's not pride, that's self-respect, and self-respect is the first step to detachment, because when you respect yourself, you're not afraid to walk away from people who don't. Too many people confuse attachment with love. They think holding on, no matter how much it hurts, is proof of loyalty. But loyalty without boundaries is just self-destruction. Love without self-respect is just dependency. If I know my worth, I don't need to chain myself to someone who keeps breaking me. I don't need to chase situations that keep rejecting me. I can step back, not because I don't care, but because I care enough about myself. Let me tell you something. People who truly value you will never put you in a position where you have to question your worth. They will not play games with your time, your energy, or your heart. But the only way you'll recognize them is by first recognizing yourself. When you know your value, you stop entertaining what doesn't align with it. You stop fighting for a seat at tables where you were never respected in the first place. You start building your own table, your own space, your own peace. Detachment becomes easier when you realize this simple truth. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone deserves your energy. Not everyone deserves your presence. And that's not bitterness, it's wisdom. Some people are only meant to be lessons, not lifelong companions. And once you know your worth, you'll be able to see the difference. So the question is not, how do I let go? The real question is, why am I holding on? Am I holding on because it's love or because I'm afraid of being alone? Am I holding on because this is good for me or because I don't believe there's something better? That's the test of worth. Because the moment you understand who you are, the moment you stand firm in your value, letting go stops being so hard. You don't lose anything by detaching. You gain freedom, you gain clarity, you gain peace. And the day you truly know your worth is the day you'll stop chasing what was never meant for you, and you'll start attracting what was waiting for you all along. Accepting the endings is one of the hardest lessons life will ever teach you, because human nature clings. We hold on to people, to relationships, to situations, even when they've already served their purpose. We convince ourselves that if we just try harder, if we just wait a little longer, if we just change this or that, things will somehow go back to the way they once were. But here's the truth. Some doors are meant to close. Some stories are meant to finish. Some people are only meant to walk with you for a season, not a lifetime. And the longer you resist that truth, the more you suffer. We love the idea of permanence, but life was never built on permanence. Think about the seasons. Winter doesn't last forever. Spring doesn't last forever. Even the most beautiful summer eventually turns into autumn. That's how life works. But when it comes to people, when it comes to relationships, we resist change. We fight against the ending as if the ending itself is punishment. In reality, endings are protection, endings are growth. Endings are the universe's way of clearing space for what's next. When someone leaves your life, it doesn't always mean they were bad. Sometimes it simply means their part in your story is finished. And that's not betrayal, it's completion. You cannot keep trying to stretch a chapter that was never meant to be the whole book. You cannot keep rereading old pages when life is urging you to turn the page. The longer you cling to what's already over, the more you delay what's waiting for you. The pain of endings is real, but it's often the pain of resistance. Because once you accept it, once you say to yourself, this is over, and that's okay, a strange peace begins to rise inside of you. You realize you don't need to force anyone to stay. You don't need to convince anyone to love you, to see you, to choose you. If it ended, it ended. That doesn't erase the memories. That doesn't erase the lessons. But it does free your hands to receive what's next. So many people trap themselves in cycles of suffering because they keep watering dead plants. They keep calling it loyalty when it's really just fear of moving on. They keep telling themselves that they're fighting for love, when really they're fighting to avoid loneliness. But here's the truth. Endings don't mean you've lost. They mean you've learned. They mean you've grown. They mean life is preparing you for something greater than what you were willing to settle for. I know it hurts when people change. I know it hurts when someone you thought would be by your side forever walks away. But think about this. If someone could leave, maybe they were never meant to stay. If something could fall apart, maybe it wasn't built on the foundation you thought it was. And if a season ended, maybe it's because you outgrew it. Accepting endings doesn't mean you stop loving. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop forcing. It means you stop fighting battles that were never yours to fight. Endings are not the enemy. Endings are teachers. They teach you how strong you are. They teach you how to rebuild. They teach you that you can survive without the things you thought you couldn't live without. And when you accept them, you unlock freedom. Freedom to create new beginnings, freedom to meet new people, freedom to discover new parts of yourself that would have never surfaced if you had stayed stuck in the past. So let me ask you, what ending are you still refusing to accept? Who are you still holding on to, even though the story is clearly over? What situation are you still trying to revive, even though it's already gone cold? Until you answer those questions honestly, you will remain stuck. But the moment you accept, the moment you release, the moment you let the chapter close, you step into the next one. And sometimes the next chapter is so much better than the one you were trying so hard to hold on to. But you'll never know until you let go. Mastering emotional distance doesn't mean shutting your heart down. It doesn't mean becoming cold, unfeeling, or robotic. It means learning how to control your emotions so that they no longer control you. Because let's be honest, most of the pain we go through doesn't come from the situation itself, but from the way we respond to it. Someone says something to us and we carry it for days. Someone walks away and we let it define our worth. Someone betrays us, and we let their actions become the weight we drag behind us everywhere we go. That is not strength. That is slavery. Emotional slavery, and the only way out of it is by creating distance. Distance doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care from a higher perspective. It means you stop reacting to every trigger, every insult, every shift in other people's moods. You stop being the puppet that anyone can control with a few words. When you master emotional distance, you take your power back. You decide how you feel, instead of letting people decide it for you. The truth is, not everything deserves your reaction. Not everyone deserves an answer. Sometimes silence speaks louder than words. Sometimes walking away shows more strength than engaging in another endless fight. Emotional distance teaches you this wisdom. You don't have to show up to every battle you're invited to. Some battles are designed just to drain you, to distract you, to pull you off your path. And when you're ruled by your emotions, you'll find yourself constantly stepping into wars that were never even meant for you. Think about how many times you've lost your peace because of something temporary. Someone cut you off in traffic, and you carried that anger for hours. Someone didn't text you back fast enough, and you made up an entire story in your head. Someone gave you a cold look, and suddenly your whole day was ruined. That's the danger of being emotionally reactive. You hand over control of your peace to every little thing outside of you. But when you create distance, when you step back and breathe, you see things clearly. You realize most of what upsets you doesn't even matter in the long run. Emotional distance is about choosing peace over chaos. It's about saying, I will not let this situation control me. I will not let this person decide how I feel today. I will not allow temporary noise to disturb permanent peace. That doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're wise. It means you've matured enough to know that self-control is more powerful than any reaction you could give. And here's something important. Distance protects your energy. Not everyone who comes close to you has good intentions. Some people feed off your reactions. They feed off your anger, your frustration, your pain. The moment you stop reacting, they lose their power over you. They don't know how to handle your calm. They don't know how to handle your silence. That's when you realize distance is not just protection, it's power. Of course, mastering emotional distance takes practice. You'll slip up. You'll react sometimes. You'll lose your cool. But every time you step back instead of lashing out, every time you breathe instead of breaking, every time you choose silence instead of chaos, you grow stronger. You build that inner muscle of control. And one day, you'll find yourself in the middle of a storm, completely calm, completely centered, completely unshaken. That's the reward of distance. So ask yourself, who or what has been controlling your emotions lately? Who have you been giving too much power to? Because the truth is, nobody can steal your peace unless you hand it to them. The moment you take it back, the moment you create that distance, you realize that peace is not something given, it's something chosen. And once you master emotional distance, you stop being a prisoner of other people's actions. You become free. And freedom is the real power. Choosing peace over drama is one of the most powerful decisions you will ever make, and yet it's one of the hardest. Why? Because drama is tempting. Drama pulls you in. Drama makes you feel alive for a moment, like you're part of something bigger, something urgent. But here's the truth, drama is just noise. It doesn't build you. It doesn't heal you. It doesn't move you forward. It only drains you, and if you keep chasing it, if you keep feeding it, you will eventually look around and realize your energy is gone, your time is gone, and your peace has been stolen. Peace, on the other hand, looks quiet at first. It looks boring compared to drama.
It doesn't demand your attention. It doesn't beg for your reaction. It doesn't come with fireworks. But peace is where your strength lies. Peace is where clarity shows up. Peace is where you can actually hear yourself think, hear your purpose calling, hear your spirit breathe. The problem is, he aims at those with calling, those with divine fingerprints, those whom heaven has endorsed. When you choose peace, you're not saying you don't care. You're saying, I care too much about myself to get dragged into chaos that doesn't serve me. And not every argument is worth your words. Not every insult deserves your energy. Not every provocation requires your reaction. Sometimes the most powerful move is no move at all. Silence, distance, walking away, those are weapons too, and often they're stronger than any words you could ever throw back. You have to understand that people addicted to drama will always try to pull you into their storm. They thrive on conflict. They feed on reaction. They measure their power by how much control they can get over your emotions. And the moment you choose peace, the moment you stop feeding them, they lose that power. They don't know how to handle your calm. They don't know how to handle your silence. And that's when you realize you never needed to fight. You only needed to stop engaging. But here's the challenge. Choosing peace requires maturity. It requires strength, because everything inside of you wants to respond. Everything inside of you wants to defend, to prove, to fight back. Your ego whispers, don't let them disrespect you like that. But your spirit whispers louder, this isn't worth it. Protect your energy. And if you listen to that quieter voice, you walk away not weaker, but stronger. Because peace is not passive. Peace is discipline. Think about the last time you chose drama. Did it solve anything? Did it bring you joy? Did it give you clarity? Or did it just drain you and leave you with more regret? Now think about the last time you chose peace. Maybe it felt hard in the moment. Maybe it felt like you lost the argument. Maybe it felt like you walked away with nothing, but later you realized you walked away with everything: your dignity, your control, your energy, your time. And isn't that worth more than winning some pointless fight? Choosing peace doesn't mean avoiding all problems. It doesn't mean pretending nothing bothers you. It means knowing what's worth your energy and what isn't. It means understanding that not every battle is yours to fight. Some battles are distractions. Some battles are traps. And if you're wise, you'll recognize the difference. Peace is not found in the absence of problems, but in the presence of discipline. The discipline to say, I will not let this situation shake me. I will not let this person disturb me. I will not trade my inner calm for temporary chaos. And when you live by that discipline, your life begins to shift. Your relationships improve. Your mind clears. Your energy rises, because you've finally chosen what matters most: peace over drama. And the more you choose peace, the more you realize it was never boring. It was freedom all along. Detachment is not losing. Detachment is rising. Too many people think that letting go means failure, as if walking away is weakness. But the truth is, detachment is not about what you're leaving behind, it's about what you're stepping into. Because the moment you release what was weighing you down, you make space to climb higher. You can't elevate while carrying baggage that was never meant to go where you're headed. Detachment is not abandonment, it's alignment. It's aligning your life with what serves your growth, your purpose, your peace. Look at nature. A balloon doesn't rise until you let go of the strings holding it down. A bird doesn't soar until it leaves the branch. A tree doesn't grow tall until it sheds dead leaves. Everything in nature teaches us the same lesson. You cannot rise without release. And yet we, as people, resist this truth. We cling to people who keep hurting us. We cling to situations that drain us. We cling to memories of what was instead of stepping boldly into what could be. That's why so many stay stuck. They want elevation, but refuse detachment. Detaching doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you become cold. It means you care enough about yourself to not let anything or anyone stop your growth. It means you recognize that some people can only love you at the level they're at, but you've outgrown that level. Some environments can only offer you what they're capable of, but you're meant for more. Some habits once kept you comfortable, but now they keep you stagnant. Detachment is having the courage to say, I love you, I appreciate you, but I cannot stay here. I cannot shrink myself to fit a space I've outgrown. You have to understand elevation always requires separation. When a rocket launches, it drops parts of itself along the way. Not because those parts weren't important, but because they served their purpose and can't survive the higher atmosphere. Your journey is no different. There are people, places, and versions of yourself that were necessary for one season, but they can't come with you into the next. If you keep holding on, you'll only delay your ascent. It hurts to detach. It hurts to walk away. It hurts to release what once felt like home. But comfort zones can become cages, and cages will never let you fly. You weren't born to stay grounded. You were born to rise, and rising requires letting go of what holds you down. Sometimes that's toxic relationships. Sometimes that's old beliefs. Sometimes that's even your own fear of success. Whatever it is, detachment is the bridge between who you are and who you're meant to become. The truth is, not everyone will understand your detachment. Some will call you selfish. Some will say you've changed. Some will try to guilt you back into places you've outgrown. But remember this, you don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing your peace. You don't owe anyone your energy at the cost of your destiny. The only person you owe is yourself, the version of you that's waiting at the top asking, will you climb to meet me, or will you stay stuck where it's safe? Detachment is the answer. Detach from the noise, detach from the drama, detach from the weight of people's opinions, detach from anything that makes you forget your own worth. Because the moment you detach, you don't fall. You rise, you elevate into clarity, you elevate into freedom. You elevate into the life you were always meant to live. So if you feel heavy right now, if you feel stuck, if you feel like you're carrying too much, ask yourself, what am I still holding on to that's keeping me from flying? And then, with courage, with faith, with strength, let it go, because the day you detach is the day you truly elevate. We spend so much of our lives holding on to people who don't value us, holding on to situations that keep us stuck, holding on to memories of what used to be instead of embracing what could be. But life is not about clinging. Life is about flowing. Life is about knowing your worth, accepting endings, creating distance, choosing peace, and detaching so you can finally rise. Because at the end of the day, peace is the real wealth, growth is the real success, freedom is the real power, and you will never experience any of those things if you keep dragging yesterday into tomorrow. So I leave you with this: stop asking, what if I lose them? And start asking, what if I find myself? Stop asking, what if it ends? And start asking, what if this ending is really my beginning? Detach, not in anger, not in fear, but in strength, because the moment you let go of what was never meant for you, you unlock everything that always was. And when you rise, rise with peace, rise with clarity, rise with freedom. That's the elevation you were created for.